What is going on, everybody? Back at Brodown with Mad Dog and Bobuck.
What's up, guys?
So today we're kind of doing things a little differently. We're definitely going to be talking about, the Annunaki today?
We're going to be talking about the Annunaki and some things popular in sports, music, just our regular routine. But first, before we start that, we really wanted to talk about another giveaway opportunity that we're doing, some merchandise. Go down in this video, comment, leave a like. Since we're doing it about space, how about you comment your favorite space movie?
Or we could do space movie this time. We'll do something else next time.
Yeah, next time.
That's a good one.
Just whatever your favorite space movie is, as long as it involves space. Personally, mine is Coneheads. It's a comedy from the 80s, 90s.
I don't have a favorite space movie.
No?
No, I got a favorite. I have a. Well, that's really funny, but no, I don't really have a favorite space movie. I got a favorite space video game.
What's that?
Dead Space.
Dead Space?
That was absolutely phenomenal. It scared the shit out of me.
All right, everybody, you can do space video games or space movies, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
Just leave it in the comment section down below. Leave a like. Make sure you're a subscriber, and you'll win some free shit.
Hell yeah, dude. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our music. Corey Taylor featured in Kid Bookie's song Stuck in My Ways. He already had it out for a little bit, but he did a feature, like a remix kind of, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, we actually had an opportunity to watch the music video. From what I understand, not everybody can watch that, correct, right now?
Everyone can watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's not released on like Spotify, Pandora, or Apple Music yet.
Okay, so everybody look it up
You
on YouTube.
can listen to this normal version of Stuck in My Ways, which I have, but not the one featuring Corey Taylor yet.
Okay. So yeah, everybody, you definitely want to check out the Corey Taylor version. I just listened to it for the first time, and it's definitely going to be one of my more favorite songs I'm going to listen to over and over again. It's definitely worth checking out.
And it bumps pretty good if you got some good speakers.
It's definitely going to bump.
Also, Korn has released a single from their new album. It's going to be really good. I can't for the life of me remember the name of the album. The Nothing is the name of the album. And it is the single they dropped is absolutely phenomenal. And just to keep rolling with it, Joyner released another new song. I just wish he would just release ADHD already.
Yeah.
But he released Broken Stupid, and it's really funny. It's really good.
It is funny. Going backwards a little bit more, I've always been a freak on Korn's leash. I think it's pretty cool that they're getting older and they're still making music.
Well, yeah.
I still remember the South Park. Like when South Park first came out, they had an episode.
That Halloween episode?
The Halloween episode, right.
Yeah, that was really good.
So, I mean, it's cool to see Korn still out there.
Yeah. Also, for those huge fans of NF, he has released 2 songs now. I can't remember the first one or the second one. The first one's The Search. The second one's When I Grow Up. It's really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. It's different. It's not his normal stuff, but it's really good.
Right.
So, anyways.
Going from music to sports, not really too much going on in sports, except for the UFC fight. You know, last night was fight night.
I didn't watch it, so you're going to have to tell me what happened.
So, really, I mean, the underbouts are the underbouts. Those are pretty much the nothings, especially when you have a fight night and it's not a pay-per-view. But the big fight was Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos being a huge name in UFC, and Ngannou, becoming a rising star.
Okay, so he's moving his way up at a rate that he could be the next champion.
Actually, they think that his next fight, because Ngannou did win, he won after, I think, 1 minute and 11 seconds in the first round by TKO.
Wow.
Junior Dos Santos went straight down. He caught him with I think it was a right hook right to the ear, and then he started to go down, hit him with another right hook.
I saw a hammer fist.
Then just as soon as he went down, he just started hammer fisting him, and they stopped the fight right there. It was a real quick fight. Ngannou definitely just controlled the entire thing.
I'm not a huge fan of the fights that don't last.
I think you definitely get more money. Like, you more bang for your buck for the fights that last, because you get to watch them. They're more exciting. The fighters get more chance to get a little bloodied up. But I honestly, I like the quick TKOs, especially when you have somebody that just shows their dominance the way that he did.
He looked shredded.
Yeah.
He looked shredded compared to the other guy.
So this will be a 3-win streak for Ngannou in August, whenever they have their UFC event in August. I have no idea what number that would be, to be honest with you. He's probably going to fight for the heavyweight champion.
That's going to be really good to watch.
Right.
That's going to be really good to watch.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if shortly after that he fought Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis also looking for the title. And Derek Lewis actually beating Ngannou once already. Shout out to you, Derek Lewis. My balls get hot too.
Oh my god, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's Derek Lewis. My balls.
That's hilarious. That guy's funny.
Yeah.
I watched that fight. That was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
Was that the Conor McGregor night?
Yeah, whenever he fought Habib.
Yes.
Habib, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good fight.
It was good. I mean, I'm upset that Conor lost, but...
Yeah, so am I. I'm a huge fan of Conor because he's cocky.
Right.
And
everybody loves his attitude.
He's funny.
Right. The Magic Mick.
Yeah.
But that's really all that's going on. We'll have a lot more for you next week for sports. Okay. Because they'll have the big UFC.
Yeah, and then we'll have more to talk about on it, that's for sure. But moving on, going into gaming. So, my biggest thing about gaming is IGN is like the number one. Like, if you go to buy a game, you look at what IGN rated it.
Right, absolutely.
You look to see, like, what was it? I think it was Red Dead was perfect, and it was one of the first. It was really close to perfect. It was the highest rated game ever to be ranked by IGN.
Red Dead or Red Dead 2?
2.
Okay.
And it was absolutely phenomenal. It was one of the best games I've ever played. They rated the new Modern Warfare a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10? For
They
Call of Duty?
said that some of them aren't even going to play it. It's too realistic to them. They don't like the realism of it. It really draws people in, I guess, and makes you feel like you're actually killing people.
Wasn't that like the point of a video game?
I don't know. I don't think so. But shortly after, they, I think it was Activision, tweeted that they're going to do what they want to do with their game. They don't really care what everybody else thinks.
Well, good for them.
So as soon as I saw that, I pre-ordered it. You guys should definitely do the same thing, especially if you want a realistic experience in a Call of Duty franchise, which has not happened yet.
Right. Well, I mean, they've been kind of realistic, especially when you go back
not compared to Battlefield.
Well, no, not compared to Battlefield, but like when you go back to like Modern Warfare and the good Call of Duties, like you really got wrapped up in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you get wrapped up in any game. Like the new Black Ops 4 is really, really good. I love it, but there's no story. There's no campaign.
Right. There's nothing to really you get wrapped up in the game itself, but not in the story. Exactly. It's not like you're enacting a character.
I'm pretty sure on the video I saw Price.
Okay.
Price is back.
Oh, yeah. You did see Price.
You did? Okay,
yeah, you
cool.
did see Price.
So that is definitely something I'm looking forward to. I've always been a huge fan of Price.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be one of the best Call of Duties that came out in a while. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really not a Call of Duty person. I'm much more of a Battlefield person, so I'll definitely be picking it up.
I'm a Call of Duty guy. I mean, I love Battlefield. They're great. I still have some. It's just, it doesn't draw me in. Yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't draw me in like the Call of Duty does. For some reason, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things, man.
Well, Battlefield's a lot more strategic. You have to take your time a lot more with it.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan. I just want to run in there with guns and kill everybody.
Well, that's Call of Duty is for you then, sir.
Mm-hmm. Hence why I play it.
Right. So today's main topic that we're going to talk about, we're going with last week. Last week we talked about space and different theories of what space actually is. This week we're going to talk about the Annunaki. And what the Annunaki is recently, I don't exactly know the exact date that we found it, but in ancient Sumeria we found a tablet.
It was like 2011, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 2011, 2012. And on this tablet told a story. Now this tablet's, they estimated it to be right around 10,000 years old. So this is the oldest written like full story that we have.
They had a language back then.
Right.
Which is
Sumerian.
Contrary to what scientists had believed prior, because at that time they thought we were just cave dwellers.
Right, or just starting.
But we definitely had, languages.
Right.
In society, really.
Right. Well, it was close enough to, I don't know if it's Hebrew or whatever language is close to Sumerian, but they were able to translate the tablet fairly easily, actually. It was a pretty simple.
They had a few hundred characters, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a pretty
language.
Right, it was a huge language, but compared to whatever it mirrored, I'm almost certain it's Hebrew. It was pretty simple to decipher and tell. There wasn't a lot of contradiction in what they thought that it said. So the story that it talks about is the story of how we as humans became humans.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on it, especially since, building up to this podcast. It's a very big podcast for us.
Right, absolutely.
So essentially they created humanity because the race that they brought with them to Earth to mine gold, because their ozone was dying.
Right, and if we had more gold on this planet, which statistically we should have more. It's almost
China
like
has it.
China has a lot of it, but as like a planet as a whole, geographically, we should have a lot more gold on this planet than what we do.
I'm sure
it's almost like somebody took it.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Because we have a big-ass planet and it's only so much gold left. Like, where did it all go?
Right. I think statistically it said if you took a football field, you could lay every piece of gold out on the football field flat, and that's what we have.
Right now.
Right, so it's 100 yards by 50 yards.
Okay.
That's what we have in gold on the planet that we've mined.
That's not very much.
No, I mean, it's a lot of... you would be super rich if you had that.
Yeah, but considering the planet as how big?
Right, exactly. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's back up a little bit. So, hundreds of thousands of years ago, this tablet says that the Annunaki came to Earth with a slave race called the Ajiji.
Yes, the Ajiji.
The Ajiji were used to mine the gold, so, like we said, the Anunnaki could repair their ozone on a planet called Nibiru, or Planet X. I'm sure a lot of you, especially if you're listening to this podcast, have heard of this planet before. It's a planet in our solar system that we have not yet found.
But it definitely exists according to gravitational fields and pulls and whatnot.
Right. If you look up the science, it's really hard to get into the science on here because we can't use visual aids. But if you look it up and you calculate in gravitational pull on our celestial bodies, which is what Pluto technically is. It's a celestial body, not a planet. There's other smaller Jupiters farther out in our solar system that they don't revolve around the sun.
No,
they do an elliptical pattern.
Yeah, they're like ovals.
And they think that there's a large planet whose gravitational pull pulls them back into our solar system. That's why they're not free flowing out just into space. I said, you guys you look up the science.
It's really kind of hard to find.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to find. TED Talk did a very good presentation on it.
He did a good presentation. He's not very good at speaking, but his pictures and the way he described it is very, very good. I understood it as soon as I saw it. So
right, so you guys should go check out the TED Talk. Because of copyright issues, we can't do that here. So you can pause this, go check it out, make sure you come back to us.
He did find it from NASA.
Right.
NASA.
Well, I mean, he also works with his own space. You guys just have to look it up. He explains everything. It's really hard to explain. But anyway, back to the story. So the Ajiji rebelled from the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki just basically wiped them out. So
they were stuck.
Right. Yeah.
They were stuck with no one to mine gold.
Right. So Anu told his son Enki to go out and to find a species that they could easily make into something that, would work for them and would be subservient. So they either took a Neanderthal or a chimpanzee, a monkey, whatever, and used that DNA coding and mixed it with a little bit of theirs and basically made us. Now, it's interesting because you're talking about a 10,000-year-old tablet talking about genetic coding.
Which didn't exist back then according to scientific research.
Right. I mean, obviously, genetic... we barely knew how to make fires 10,000 years ago.
We just started genetic engineering, actually, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, just recently we were able to bring back mammoths and stuff like that. They're working on cloning. It's a very complex system. 10,000 years ago.
They did a goat a couple years ago, but it's been...
A sheep. Her name was Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly the sheep.
Dolly's sheep.
So we just got there.
Right.
Could you imagine how advanced that society was to just be oh, let's go ahead and make a clone?
Right, it was an everyday thing just to take genes and throw them together.
Yeah.
That's
splicing.
Insane. Right, splicing. So that's what they did, and they made us. And the first human, and it actually says this in the tablet, name was Adamu.
Which
sounds a lot like Adam.
Yeah, it does sound a lot like
Adam. So the first human's name was Adamu.
The first male's name.
Right.
He was the first reproductive male?
Right. At first they weren't reproductive, but it became too much of a process to actually...
just keep making new people.
So they let us reproduce. And it sounds horrible to think like something let us reproduce.
Well,
like,
it makes
weird.
sense.
It does make sense, though. So...
because they got tired of doing all the work. They're like, now you guys can take over.
Right, absolutely. So these Anunnaki, these beings are supposedly giants that live on Nibiru, that they could only come to this planet every 3,500 years when Nibiru came close enough to the Earth. Mm-hmm. So after they made the humans, and the humans mined for a couple
thousand years.
Right, however many thousand years, we really don't know because the time gap in the tablet and the story is very vague. So eventually...
they don't cover a lot in between that time.
They don't, not at all. So eventually, the Anunnaki started interbreeding with some humans. And this is later on in this line. This is where the tablet picks back up with like the story that we can modernly associate with. So when they started, some of these Anunnaki started mating with like females, which created these hybrid creatures called the Nephilim, which is also in the Bible if you're into that. You know, we're just throwing in some references that are similar. These aren't necessarily our beliefs, but it's very interesting to think that it was on this tablet 10,000 years before the Bible was even written.
Which is what, 8,000 years before the Bible was written?
Right, absolutely. So these Nephilim, or that translates to giants of old, the Anunnaki felt a threat that one day maybe they could go to Nibiru and overthrow their kingdom. Correct.
Which just shows you how much power they believe we have.
Right. It really makes you think of what's actually in our genetic coding. Like, is there something that we're not tapping into?
Or we just don't know how to tap into it yet.
Right, absolutely. DMT, Joe Rogan, I'm looking at you. Facts, absolutely facts. If you don't know anything about DMT and what it can do to your brain, go look it up. I'm sure we'll have a podcast on it eventually. It may be
illegal, but the only reason it's illegal is because the government doesn't want you finding stuff out about yourself.
Right. We'll get into that in a different podcast. Whole different story. But anyway, so these Anunnaki believed that we were becoming too intelligent and too powerful. They knew that Nibiru was going to be coming back around. So Enki's brother was just going to let his creations, be destroyed whenever Nibiru came through.
Basically, a planet Earth.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't hit Earth, but it would come close enough that it would create astral bodies to basically create chaos.
Okay.
So, depending on when Nibiru hit us, like if we were in the asteroid field that the Earth has to pass through twice a year, I can't exactly remember what the asteroid field name is. We would be doomed. It would be asteroids all over the place. And there's a lot of people that think that's what happened to the dinosaurs.
Okay. It makes sense.
It does make sense. So, this happened, and Enki didn't agree with it. Enki wanted his creations to live. So he told his favorite humans to build boats because at that time there's a lot of humidity in our atmosphere, and he knew that whenever Nibiru was going to come back around, that it was going to be a huge flood.
Yep.
Which scientifically, we know that there was a huge flood on Earth. You know, most of the Earth was covered in water at one point.
Yes, and hence Noah's Ark.
Right, exactly, Noah's Ark.
Which, favorite human.
Right. We're just throwing out comparisons. We don't necessarily believe it. You make up your own decision.
Yeah.
So, that was basically, 3,500 years ago?
Right around that. And
yeah.
It's closing in on the time where they're supposed to come around again, actually.
Right. So depending on who you talk to, there's some people that believe that the government actually knows about Nibiru. And if you are looking at the slides that are going through, we're showing you pictures of the Sumerian tablet. If you pay very close attention to the picture that has the astral bodies on the upper left corner, you can see that they have 10 planets on there.
They do.
One's including Pluto, the 10th planet being Nibiru. That's right there.
This image right here. If you look around the sun, there's 9 planets. Don't mind the 2 little dots on the right-hand side. But also, a little farther out to the right side, there's another planet. That is way out there.
Way out there. So they believe that this planet is in existence. There's some people that believe the government has found it, and they know that it's going to be coming around soon. They don't want to create panic.
Which I think they should just, let us know, because we voted them into office, and, they're not doing a very good job.
Right, but they figured just, everybody would just say, fuck it.
I mean, essentially, a lot of people would, but we would also have more time to prepare ourselves.
Right. There's a lot of things now,
I'd
electronically, and...
I'd buy a boat.
I mean, you'd have to buy a big boat. You're talking about large waves. But we have battleships, we have cruise liners, we have things that are as large as arcs now. And if you think about it, our technological advancements in the last 100 years are remarkably huge.
Yeah, that's true.
And you want to kind of think, like, why recently are these things happening? Nibiru's supposedly coming back around soon.
Yep.
We have all these technological advancements happening. Maybe it's a society that's technologically advanced, maybe pushing us in the right direction so we might be able to survive.
Hopefully. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. A lot of advances that have been happening lately haven't really affected our survival rate for any catastrophic event.
Not that you know of, but if I was the government and I wasn't sure if something was going to work, I wouldn't tell me.
That's true. Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But like I said, we have cruise liners, we have battleships, we have ships that we could be on if there's a flood. We have now Elon Musk. I was talking before how he designed the rocket that can land on an asteroid and push it out of the way. We've worked on stuff, and I'm sure there's stuff that we have no idea what it is.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely other stuff out there that we haven't been, they haven't released to the public yet because they're still trial and erroring it.
Right, absolutely. So I wouldn't worry that much. But even if you do, there's nothing you can really do. So there's no point in worrying about it.
You can't tell the government to be like, hey, let me in.
Right.
You can't do that.
And even then, if it came around tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. There's nothing that me and you as just people could do.
Exactly.
So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We could get hit by an asteroid tomorrow and have nothing to do with Nibiru. But
that would be extremely interesting.
That's the story of the Anunnaki. That's actually, all written on the tablet. If you look at it now, you can see the tablet. It's a very interesting story. I think it explains where we come from a little bit.
It does. It absolutely does. And it really fills in the gaps of, what the Bible missed out on.
Right. I think it paints a clearer picture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these beings, the Anunnaki, could have been anything. If you're a Christian, they could have been God and angels. If you're a Muslim, they could have been whatever you guys believe in. Because I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of research on that.
Yeah, no,
But they could have been
100%.
Deities of some sort to the people who they created, because obviously there are creators in that aspect. So they could have been whatever we had pictured them to be.
Right. So that being said, Alien of the Week, I'm going to go with Nephilim.
Nephilim? Yeah, definitely.
Even though it would be part human, there's people that believe that a Nephilim is actually...
Still exists.
Right, they still exist.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is not a Nephilim. But no, really, there's some people that believe like a Bigfoot would be considered a Nephilim, like a giant of old. There's also lots of giant skeletons that they find all over the earth.
Very, very interesting to look at, because they're not just... they find a giant skeleton, you don't hear about it.
Right, no, the government quiets that up real quick, but there are images that you can find on Google. Again, couldn't use them because of copyright.
Yeah,
not trying to get taken down.
No, that would be a shaft.
Right. But there's information out there. You guys, whatever you think, whatever you believe, if you think it's a bunch of horse shit, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, definitely interested to see what you guys have to say.
I think it's an interesting story. And I don't think somebody 10,000 years ago would have taken the time to, carve that out of stone if it didn't have some validity in their lives that day.
Absolutely, because you got to remember, this stuff back then, they were carving with a chisel.
Right.
In wet clay.
Right. We were in
That
the Bronze
would
Age.
take a lot of time and effort to make that, you know.
Right.
So it's definitely worth checking out.
100%. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and this is going to be very serious, is it's almost like a public service announcement. It's going to be about raccoons. I just want everybody to know that raccoons are not exactly what you think that they are. The government's been trying to keep me quiet about this for a long time, and it's time that you guys know that raccoons are not real creatures and that they're android cyborgs that are used by the government to monitor your trash. That's right. There's a reason they call them trash pandas. They don't look anything like pandas, but they're always in your trash. Why is that? That's because the government needs to know what you're doing at all times. So if you're in a raccoon-rich environment, like you see a lot of raccoons, it's because the government knows what you're up to, man. And you really, really need to get your shit together. You hide your shit better. You don't throw away any personal information.
I'll burn that shit.
You gotta burn it. You don't throw away anything. Pizza boxes with your address, even though it's sitting right outside your house, you burn those. The government doesn't need to know about your Domino's order. How many times have you seen a raccoon dead on the side of the road? Almost never. But you always see possums. Why is that? Because after the raccoons get hit by cars, the government comes and picks up their technology.
That's fair.
When was the first time you seen a raccoon in history? On Davy Crockett's hat. Tell you what, that wasn't a raccoon. He painted that to look like a muskrat because Davy Crockett was working for the government to watch the Mexicans down in the Alamo. I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about. This is Bo Buck and Mad Dog signing off.